a really great Iraqi rabbi. His name was Rabbi David Salach, Zecher Tzadik Libracha, one of the great rabbis of his time. I'm not too sure the exact date he was born, but it was reported over he passed away on the 23rd of Adar in English in 1900, right at the start of the 20th century, 125 years ago, here from the time of recording. Now, he came from great rabbinic auspices. His father's name was Rabbi Yaakov Yecheskel and Salach, respectively. He was from Baghdad in Iraq. And remember, during the 1800s, there was a really famous, great Jewish community in Iraq, respectively. We've spoken about it on various occasions before. There was some of the greatest yeshivot across the world over there, including the famous Midrash Bet Zilka, which was headed by Rav Abdallah Somech at that point in time. And there was a bastion of Torah learning and many, many great Rabbonim in that specific year in of itself. Now, it's actually interesting. When he was the English 1867, this was about 33 years before he passed away, Rabbi David Salach, I think his book would come out, connected with a book of Rav Eliyahu Saliman, which was called the Kronot Tzadik, which was part of, let's just say, Yalkut Likutei Ketav Yad HaMechaber, let's just say in of itself, which had different books added or writings in of itself that was added to this Torah colossal work in of itself. Now, we've spoken about the Salach family before. I'm not too sure on how many great rabbanim, how he was connected, but very much he was a brilliant rabbi at that stage in time. I think the Kronot Tzadik was various different manuscript collections, and several editions were added later on to this specific book. And obviously it was author's manuscripts originally. Then come with the year 1876, another great Torah colossal work would come out in Baghdad, respectively, which was called the Ela Shlucha. This was a great Torah work in itself. I think it was based on the book of Esther, Megillat Esther, which just came out of Purim just recently. And I think it was very much connected to Rav Shlomo Tavina, I think his name was. And there was various different, let's just say, the author would include various drushim, expoundations of the Shabbat Shkalim. Naturally, that's that time of Purim period. And Shabbat Zachor, which obviously on Shabbat Zachor would read the passage of Amalek, wiping out Amalek at that point in time. And various different halachot and minhagim, different laws and customs in of itself. And it was a gathering, I think, from Rabbi David Salach, very interesting enough. So I'd recommend everyone to look at this. It was compiled, I think, by Rabbi David Salach, the great rabbi. Now, he passed away in English in 1900 on the 23rd of Adar. Very interesting enough. I recommend everyone to look at his book, especially the book, the Ela Shlucha. And that very much was printed in Baghdad at that point in time. Many of the great books actually come out in print. Let's just look at a few of the highlights of the different great books from the Ela Shlucha, including there's a teaching saying, Melamed ki tisa et rosh shelo yu kulam rashim ela ba'achva, talking about each single person should the countings, obviously at the time of Parshat Shkalim, we know that we give the machatzit to shekel. It was a form of counting, but how we should do it with brotherlyhood and with love in of itself. Another good teaching, let's just say, from the Ola Shlucha book, I think from page 52, would be Melamed Shatit Lekabel Tshuva Umot Shatzro et Yisrael. That's another good teaching over there, which I recommend everything. Melamed Lenoagim Lehitanot Bezayin Adar Ma Yasu B'Shana Muberet. With regards to what do we do on Zayin Adar, naturally we know that Zayin Adar marks the Hilula of Moshe Rabbeinu, the date of his birth and passing away. But what do we do exactly within regards to it? This is actually coming from the Dinei Purim section in the Ela Shlucha, respectively. One last teaching we can say within regards to this book, let's just say, is Melamed She'oskim B'Torah Na'aseh Lahem Shalom Matzav Ve'eno Michshol. There shouldn't be a stumbling block put upon the person, that everything should be in peace and in tranquility in of itself, especially when you're dealing with the Torah. So friends, it's his Hilula over here on the 23rd of Adar, passed away 125 years ago. Don't forget to light candles in the great rabbi's memory. Friends, we're a community here. We're learning about the great rabbis of yesteryear. This happens to be another one of the great rabbis from Iraq. We haven't really spoken about a rabbi from Iraq in more than a week already inside the series, so it's always welcome to see it. Wishing you all Shabbat Shalom. We're about to come into Shabbat Parshat Vayakel here in Israel. It happens to be separate Parshiot, Vayakel and Pukadei this year, and wishing you blessings here from Israel.